We were born for the spotlight, you know.
Okay, this is GitLab and Jam3 kicking off our marketing site redesign project. I will throw it over to whoever would like to kick it off on the Jam3 side.
That would be me. I'm going to share my screen real quick so I can pull up the deck. Bear with me for 1 minute. I'm just pulling it up here.
Hey, Craig, we're getting kicked off. I'm recording this for anyone who is unable to make it.
Great. I'll just listen in for the first 30 minutes. I'm having camera problems. So.
Oh, right on. Thanks.
Are you all seeing the deck?
You bet.
Perfect. Okie dokie. So I guess Michael already said, so we are, of course, kicking off the GitLab marketing site, and we'll be working all together over the next couple of months to do so. So quick agenda for the day. So our team and myself, we're going to be going through team introductions, our brief, our goals, talking about what it is that we're actually doing, our timeline, some considerations for all of us to keep in mind, and our resources. And then I'm hoping to hand it off to GitLab. I'm not sure if this would be Michael or Adam, but we're hoping to go through your brand guidelines as well as just kind of discuss your design principles and values.
Yeah, I can grab that. I think Adam's out today.
Oh, perfect. And then I'll hand it off to you. And then we can go over next steps and just kind of talk through those details a little bit as well. Okay, so to kick it off, I'm hoping that we can go through some team introductions real quick. If we want to do a quick little round rally of who you are, you can just say your name, what you do, your role, and then pass the mic to someone new. Michael, would you like to start for your team?
Sure, and we've got a pretty big group here, so let's see how quick we can make this go. So Michael Preuss, Director of Digital Experience. I'll pass it to Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan, Senior Front End. Yeah, gonna help make all this happen. I'll toss over to Tyler.
Hello, I'm Tyler Williams. I'm a senior full stack engineer, and I will pass it up to Carrie, who's above me in the list.
I'm Carrie, and I'm a product designer on the team. I'll pass it over to Mateo.
Yeah, I'm Mateo Venegas. I am a full stack engineer, part of the Lean Tech team. I'll pass it over to Jan.
Hi, I'm Jan Arias, full stack developer, also from Lean Tech, and I pass it over to Miguel.
Hello, everyone. I'm a front-end engineer at the team. Happy to work with you, and I'll pass you over to Megan.
Hey, Megan Philo. I'm a front-end engineer on the team. I'll pass it over to Laura.
I'm Laura. I'm also a front-end on the team. I'll pass it to Javi.
Hi, I'm Javi. I'm a front-end engineer. I'll pass it over to, I'm like trying to keep track, Tina.
Hi, I'm Tina, senior product designer on the team. I'll pass it over to Jess.
Hey, I'm Jess, also senior product designer. And do we get everyone on our team? Well, I think that might be all of our team.
We got Christine, we got Craig.
Oh, geez, sorry. I literally have a compress on one of my islands, which is why I'm off video. So seeing is not my strong suit this morning. I'll pass it to Cindy, sorry.
Hi, Cindy Blake, product marketing. Pass it to Craig.
Hi, everyone. Acting Chief Marketing Officer, exec sponsor of the program. I think Christine Lee is last.
Hey, everyone. Christine Lee, Director of Strategy and Marketing Strategy and Operations.
And I'm Christina. I'm a content marketing manager here.
Nice to meet you all.
I think I saw Luke too, just pop up.
Do we have more?
Yeah, Luke, did you pop on?
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, I don't know how great my internet connection is. So I apologize if I'm choppy. Yes, I'm Luke, principal brand designer, just kind of filling in for Adam, who's the director of brand as he's out today. So great to be here. Nice to meet everyone.
It's a pleasure to meet you all too. I guess I will go from the Jam3 side and get this done real quick. So I'm Cassie. I'm a producer here at Jam3, and I'll hand it off to Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate Lacey, executive producer located in Los Angeles, and I will pass it to Stefan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Stefan. I'm Executive Creative Director here on the Jam3 side, based in Toronto, and I'm looking forward to working with you all. All right, who's next in line? Do we have Adam on the call?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Adam. I'm going to be a creative director on this project, and I'm based in New York. And I also can't wait to work on this. It's going to be great. I will pass it off to Juan.
Hi, everybody. My name is Juan. I'm an interactive designer at Jam3 in Toronto, and can't wait to work with you. I will pass it to Clay.
Thank you, Juan. Hello, everyone. I'm Clay. I'm also on the East Coast. I'm design lead on the Jam3 side. Very excited to work with everyone. I will pass it to Martin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Martin Somalani. I'll be the lead motion designer for the team on Jam3 in Toronto. I'll pass it to, oh my gosh.
I think that's it.
That might
I
be
think
it.
that's it. One person who wasn't able to make it today, as she is out, is Sophia. She'll be joining us as well later down the timeline, who will be joining us from a design standpoint as well. You'll meet her eventually. Okay, that's it for team introductions. I'm very impressed we did that so quickly. That was just, we were rocking and rolling through that. Let's keep on going. So the brief. So you are all, of course, redoing your marketing site and introducing your new brand identity to the world. We, GitLab and Jam3, will be working as a collaborative team in 2-week sprint cycles, and we're going to be meshing all of our strong skill sets together to produce a clear, confident, and visually impressive experience to propel GitLab forward. And we're all very excited to be working together, as mentioned. In terms of goals, so sorry, I just lost you guys on my screen. So we will be, of course, bringing your new brand identity to life. You have a whole new makeover, and we're going to be, bringing this to your new marketing site in true Jam3 form, pushing it as far as we possibly can. We want to make sure that it's clear. We're going to be presenting your site goals and content, as well as, not forgetting about GitLab's values as a company, and bringing your new identity, forward in a clear and easily can't speak English today, apparently, digestible way. We want to make sure that we're getting any visitors to the site to the right spot. So I don't know, Michael, if you'd like to speak to this, but
yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, we're gonna experience 80%. We really want, we're seeing in our data, we're seeing in our metrics, a lot of our sales is SMB, which is small, medium business, up to mid-market some. So let's make a nice self-service, like no touch sort of e-commerce experience. And then for those larger total addressable market, bigger deals, let's put the white gloves on and treat them real nice and connect them with somebody.
Thank you. In terms of our deliverables and what we are actually doing, so we're going to be kicking off, as of today, an exploration sprint where we're going to be, we being Jam3, are going to propose 2 to 3 art direction styles for you all to choose. We're going to be moving forward with just one, of course, by the end of this sprint, and then we'll jump right into the design sprints immediately following. We're also going to be dabbling with a bit of motion exploration within that as well. As for the design and motion sprints, so we are going to be tackling 2 pages per sprint. There is a scheduling tier. You all should have access to this deck if you like to go through these links. But if you for some reason can't access anything, please let me know. Each of these pages that we're going to be designing will be informed by the page briefs. If you haven't seen these yet, they're also linked here. It's essentially a template that we've provided where we will require you to fill out some information about each page in order for us to be able to move forward and start designing them. All designs, just calling out, it will have FBO content, and all copy will just be lorem ipsum. And motion designs, of course, will be linked by the page, or informed by the page briefs linked above. I believe you all have started to fill it out, so most of you probably have seen that template. If you haven't before and you start to go through it and you have questions, obviously always feel free to reach out to us and we're happy to answer. Content types will be determined as we go through the next few months together. In terms of what pages, what are the pages that we are going to be working on? So we have our priority 1 pages, homepage, which is including our main nav, footer, and global header, pricing, features, and solutions. Priority 2 pages, category leadership and why GitLab. Priority 3 pages are get started, support, and resources. In terms of the timeline and how we're going to be tackling those pages, the official Gantt timeline is going to be linked on this page. Again, you should all have access. Let me know if you don't. We're kicking off with the exploration sprint immediately today. How we're breaking up those pages are going to be 2 per sprint, like I mentioned, except for the 4th one where we're going to be doing 3. If we can, for some reason, expedite this a bit and start to include more pages in each sprint, let's do it. Let's stick with this schedule for now. We'll see how we evolve. We're going to be following a specific meeting cadence, which I'll go over in 1 second. It'll just help us stay on track and make sure that we're limiting the meetings that we have on our calendars, because we all love an empty calendar, or not a full one. Page briefs are linked here as well in case you need them. They have to be finalized before we kick off each sprint, just to make sure that our team does have the necessary information to do things properly, do it justice. And then, as I mentioned, the schedule might change just as we start to work through things. If we need to, change up anything, if we have to start working on more pages, or we have to slow down, which we won't. But if there are changes that need to happen, we'll adjust as necessary and work together to do so. In terms of that meeting cadence I mentioned, so this is kind of what we're thinking. We're thinking we can try it out, and if we do need to change it, we can, but it's worked well in the past, so we're hoping it'll work well again. So Mondays will be our sprint planning sessions for the first week. Wednesdays will be our official review days. So our first review would be in that first week, and we're hoping to receive feedback by end of day the following day, which would be Thursday, of course. The following week, we would have our review again on Wednesdays. We're going to keep it as a weekly occurrence. Again, receiving final feedback for that sprint on that Thursday and approvals by end of week, along with the page briefs for the following sprint. So once we hop into the sprint planning session for the new pages on Monday, we're ready to go. We reviewed it and we can hop to it. In terms of considerations, so of course, we're working as a collaborative team. We want to make sure that communication is just in a constant go. I believe we're getting added to Slack. I think Adam had set that up. It should be happening today, but hopefully
I'll have to
soon.
follow up with Adam. I wasn't clear where he left that off.
Okay, cool. Well, hopefully we're all connected soon and we can just keep the communication going. Make sure that we're always on the same page and easily, talking with each other. In terms of process alignment, we, of course, like I've mentioned a few times, we'll figure out the best ways to work together in terms of our processes and just making sure that this keeps pushing forward in a completely seamless way. I have no doubt that we'll be completely successful with this. In terms of the schedule, let's make sure we're sticking to the feedback cadences, the meeting cadences, and the schedule that we have aligned on, just so that we, we're not experiencing any delays and we can get things moving forward. In terms of feedback as well, we just want to make sure that all feedback that we receive is super clear and consolidated, just to ensure that we, we're not questioning anything. We can hop right to the next sprint and just, again, push things forward. In terms of development, we want to make sure that our creatives are in constant communication with your dev team as well. We might have some devs from our side join eventually, TBD, but we just kind of speaks to communication, making sure that it's constantly flowing so that we make sure that whatever we're designing is completely feasible.
And we'll get everybody on your side set up in GitLab too. So that's where all of the engineering happens, and we have review apps. Like it'll all be happening, visibly, so that collaboration is at the top.
I love it. That's perfect. Thank you. In terms of our resources that we have, does not want to switch for me. There we go. So of course our page briefs, it's obviously linked multiple times, but we added it here as well, just because they are super important. We are going to have a master agendas doc. This is also going to be linked in every single one of our meetings, just so you can follow along. And the latest will always be at the top, so you're not eventually scrolling through however many pages it is. Also, if you ever happen to miss a meeting because you're out, if you're sick, every bit of information will be there for you. And then our timeline is linked here again as well, just because it's going to be our source of truth and we want to make sure that we're sticking to it as much as possible. In terms of brand guidelines, I guess, actually, before I move forward, does anyone have any questions for us, Jam3? Is everything super clear? I know I just ran through that super quickly.
It's clear. Could we maybe just take a quick look at the Gantt, like the first maybe month of the Gantt chart?
For sure.
Thanks.
For sure we can. Let me pull that up real quick. I have to find you guys again. Okie dokie. Are you guys seeing my schedule?
You bet.
Perfect. So we are, of course, kicking off today, and we're going to be going through brand guidelines in just a minute. But as I mentioned, we're going to be going through this exploration sprint. We're going through design in motion mood boards and getting through those details. And by the end of this, we're going to be, of course, approving the one direction out of the 2 or 3 that we provide and receiving the final brief template that we provided for the pages that will be kicking off the following week. So as mentioned, we're going to be tackling homepage and pricing first during the first 2 week sprint and receiving the page briefs for the next few pages at the end of that sprint. And it kind of just follows the exact same, I guess, cadence as we go through all of it. Again, I will adjust this if we start to work on pages earlier than expected. I will keep this up to date through the entire project. I don't know if you would like me to go through.
No, that's perfect.
These details,
no,
but you
just
kind of
high level, just so that everybody is kind of grounded with the group. Another sort of a higher level question.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, where do projects like this start to go sideways, or like what are some small nuances that we should keep really on top of? Like I'm hearing getting those briefs, like the content briefs in early, getting feedback consolidated. Like what are other, in your experience, you're like, oh, that happened again, we're a little bit off track?
Yeah, Cassie, you can probably speak to that as well, but I think that's the initial design exploration will be where we're going to be presenting 2 to 3 art directions, and I know that's where a lot of internal discussion on your side might want to happen to align on what direction do we want to move forward with. So I think having those communications up front and getting alignment up front on that style direction is super important. And then from there, I think it'll be a pretty well-oiled machine because you guys are so on top of everything in terms of all of the documentation and assets that we have. So I'm really looking at these first 2 weeks of like, let's see how these explorations go and how we can get aligned there. But I'd love Cassie and Stefan or Adam to speak up as well.
My 2 calls would be the 2 that I mentioned, the big one being just consolidated feedback and making sure whoever who was meant to give feedback got it and it doesn't come in later. That of course can always throw us off. And then just constant communication and ensuring that everyone's always on the same page. Of course, we have a very large team considering we're combining forces. So that Slack channel, getting access to GitLab, that'll be super, super helpful. Stefan or Adam, do you have any call outs?
Really, honestly, it's just the same thing you guys said. It's just mostly just delays and stuff like that tend to just push things back. So making sure all the eyes are on it and we can start getting approvals nice and quick. We'll keep this trucking along.
Awesome. So first big decision is usually that's the make or break moment. Craig, while we have you on, in terms of presenting or sharing the progress with Sid, what's your preference in that area?
I think we should, as we have, mocks and things like that, and we have our weekly category leadership meeting, we can use that forum, Michael.
Great.
To do that. I think that would be the best way. And I would only bring stuff to him if we really want input or a decision, right? I don't want to just show him stuff to show him stuff. So like if there's really like, okay, here's the homepage flow and the feel, that's one we may want to take the full e-group, the homepage.
Yeah.
Pricing page, Sid's passionate about it. So him and probably Justin should be just aware of what's going on there. The rest of the pages, I fundamentally think y'all will figure out. So
okay, great. That's what I was thinking too. And sorry, Jam3 side, Sid is the CEO, and he is actively involved and usually has really great things to actually contribute. So okay, I'll build that up.
That
I have
would
a
be
question.
perfect.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go for it.
It might be a silly one, but our homepage and pricing page are extremely sensitive. We have been iterating on them for years. And I'm just wondering, I guess from an analytics perspective, are we taking all the considerations, like, I guess, going into the pricing page? Because like we have for A/B testing coming up. Do we still want to do that? Like there's a bunch of little things that I'm just curious about. I don't know how to word it properly, but.
Can I share my philosophy on this project?
Yeah, for sure.
So our overall site from a content structure perspective needs like a step change, right? So from my perspective, any A/B tests or little things we're doing right now, we should stop. We should do a big step change. And we're going to get, based on our intuition, 70 to 80% right. And then we can A/B test, collect the data, make sure everything's instrumented. Like we've done a really good job in the last, 3 to 4 months, like instrumenting everything. So we have great data now. It's awesome. So then what we can do is we can go look at that data and learn and say, oh, we got that one wrong. Let's go fix it, right? And then that's where we'll use A/B testing. So that's kind of my view of it. So unless there's some test in the pricing page that you think like will carry forward in the redesign, like maybe that flow you can still test, but like if we're trying to figure out if I get someone to the site, are they going to go convert or not? Like the whole structure is going to be completely different. So I don't see how that test will be valid anymore. So that's my philosophy. I don't know if there's an agreement or disagreement. I'm open to hear that.
Strong agreement. I think the one you might be asking about, Nathan, is the buy now button is what I'm probably guessing. I think we could run that to just get the intelligence of this language and this kind of purchase flow. That'll help us make decisions later. But anything else that's going to slow us down on this goal is this, then we'll get to that.
Okay, perfect. No, I'm excited to learn that it's like a jump forward. It's not necessarily a small iteration, but it just helps me understand kind of what to punt and what to take in going forward.
Yeah, by us attacking the navigation, just inherently, it's not going to be an iteration. It's a completely different flow. There's like a section now for awareness. There's going to be a section for consideration. It's going to be, I'm super excited about what I've seen so far. So.
Awesome, thanks.
Were there any other questions before we move on to brand guidelines? I take that as a no. And Michael, my question for you is, would you like me to pull up anything or did you want to take over and share your screen?
I can take over. Hey, Luke, do you want to tag team this? I can share the screen. How would you like to go through this?
Yeah, that works. If you want to take lead, I don't know. I'm just kind of real fresh into this. Adam pinged me this morning. So if you want to take lead and then I can add kind of color where it makes sense.
Will do.
Cool.
I also added in the agenda just a link to 2 sections of our handbook page. So we have our purpose and our principles. They're a little higher level than what I would consider like design principles, but it can kind of help the Jam3 crew kind of get into our world a little bit. So these brand guidelines, everyone's following along here. These are pretty hot off the press. So this is our first time actually walking through them with anyone other than ourselves. So if it sounds a little incoherent at times, that's why. But we're pretty happy with where we're at. I'm not going to read through all of this stuff. So we're refreshing the logo. So what you'll notice right off the hop is it's softer and more approachable. Luke and I have been in this work for quite a while, so we've been looking at the development of this logo for months. And when we go to work with our current logo, which we do love, like no one's going to say it's bad, but it does seem really sharp, so unapproachable. So we're pretty excited about getting to move into this. Just a little bit of the history of where this came from. So in fact, our own Jeremy Elder, who's the principal product designer for Foundations, which is the team that leads the design system for the product, came up with this concept. So we have this infinity loop, which is what we use to represent the DevOps lifecycle. It never ends. It's always just getting better and better. And he had the clever idea to overlay it over the tanuki, which is this animal, which is our logo, and use sort of the overlay as how the colors could evolve. So what I really liked about his approach is it hits our iteration values so strong. And this is where we're going to end up. So we're really excited about this. Again, whoever would do any of this, I don't know, this number 6 isn't that bad. So if you want to think about it, Luke and I will be sensitive to that. Logo lockups. Again, this is in a Figma file, a brand design guideline. Luke, have you started to roll this out anywhere? Do you have any intelligence on how that's going? Because we haven't really yet.
Yeah, no, we haven't either. I think we've mostly, so we have sales kickoff coming up in March. So I think we've shared it with a few individuals there for swag, but we haven't really started implementing the logo or the logo type yet.
My point of view on when we're at this stage of a new brand is this all worked really well in theory. As we get into it, we might learn some things we need to do. So anyone working on this project, as long as it maintains the integrity of sort of the whole, please feel free to push against it and make it better. Block of construction, blah, 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 colors. So we have a charcoal purple, which the team, when they presented that to us, I was like, I'm in. Great name for a color, charcoal purple. It'll probably look different on everybody's screen, but it's a kind of an iteration on our purples we have been using. And our feeling is that it's more premium. The whole goal of this exercise was to show that we've grown up, to show that we are enterprise level, but we still have fun. We still aren't denying our roots. So we keep our secondary palette. A lot of these are colors that are core to our brand, very loud, very playful. And then we have a neutral scale. We also have this gradient that we really love. Not sure how to use it yet, but we like it and we want to use it. So when we think about color usage, one thing we asked the brand design was just, can you give us some guidance on the percentage amount of colors should be used through the experience? Because I think one thing that we're suffering from a little bit is restraint. I think to be premium, you have to show massive levels of restraint. So as you can see, like 50% of our experience should be white, should be no color, and then smaller portions down here. So I believe that should give us some guidance that helps us really hit that level of sophistication. Here's some accessibility stuff. I think there's still some learning and potentially tweaks that we do need to do to hit AA standards. Our stance is we want to hit AA standards, but our stance is also we don't want to compromise what our brand can do and how it can show up to hit AA standards. So it's a little bit of a moving target. I know from experience, hitting AA standards all the time, every time can be limiting, unless you just have a black and white site, then it's really easy. So we want to have an acceptability in certain instances to intentionally do things if it's the right thing to do for the brand. So what I'm really just trying to say is I really want to see us hit AA standards, but not at the expense of if we have to break a rule once or twice for a reason. Type. So we get to use a new typeface. This is the thing. I think this is the #1 thing I'm excited about. This is a beautiful typeface, so much more geometric, very much more now, like part of design language now. Historically, we've just used either source sans or whatever the user's default typeface was, which I think is clever in a way, but limiting in all the other ways. Semi-bold and regular are the weights that we're going to go forward with. We like this harmony that's created between those two. And then just some examples of type usage. We're going to always align stuff left. Sentence case, everything that we see here. So fractured type repetitions. This was just a bit of a type exploration that they were doing that everybody from CEO onwards was just so into. So you can kind of see why we fell in love with that gradient. The charcoal purple activates it quite nicely. And then just this sort of representation of always iterating, always getting better just felt so right for our brand. So we can do that with any word, but this was the one that just made a lot of sense. Here's the construction of that. So illustrations, we have someone on our team, Vic, who's an incredible illustrator. And I've worked with all kinds of illustrators from really good to really bad. And Vic is at the top of the pile. She's incredible. I don't think she's started to dip her toe into creating illustrations in this new style, but we're just going with simple line-based illustrations. And there's all the kind of construction in here. These are examples. These aren't ones that were like, yeah, we love these. Like customized should definitely be this abacus kind of thing, equalizer. It's just to kind of get the vibe across. Do's and don'ts. UI atoms. I wasn't really following what this was about, so we can take it or leave it. I think what they were trying to get across is just we're going to create pieces of UI in reusable ways. Photography, we have nothing shot specifically yet. So going forward, when we want to use photography, I believe our option is going to be to buy stock photography, and over time, that'll be Luke's team that ends up going and sets up some photo shoots and getting us some custom stuff. But in terms of direction, when it's kind of groups of people or work, it's a top-down view. We really like this concept of like showing order, showing collaboration. There's something about like a bird's eye view that I think the human mind can assemble. Like there's a gestalt to it that makes it make sense quickly. And then if we're going to show customers, we're going to show them in more of a portrait style. So, and again, of course, we don't have any of this content. So I think what makes most sense for our purposes, but please feel free to press and do whatever you want. This seems like the most immediate option that we can use. Whereas getting customer portraits to represent real people using our product and doing great things, that's probably a little further down the line. And then metaphors. This can be something that I think we can use. So just looking for real life images that get across the concept of what we're trying to talk about. DevOps is new. It's a lot of different things and it can be confusing. So sort of using this approach as like an aspirational take to, for people who, are whatever the side of the brain is the logical one, the right brain or whatever, like this probably makes sense. For left brain people, this might get our concept landed. So just some examples of it in use. again, this is just directional, not at all like, hey, here it is, like just copy this. But this was, you see everything in isolation. You're like, well, I kind of need to see it together to see if there's harmony. You'll notice a lot of the word one, the category leadership work that we did with this firm, the one DevOps platform is our tagline going forward. That's something we want to own. That's core to GitLab's differentiation and competitive advantage is we are one tool, one integrated tool that allows DevOps to happen. So they were just doing some examples like all for one for all. So a little bit of plays off of the one DevOps platform. We're also okay, the content, I know it's on our side, but sometimes you're designing something and you just need to like change a letter here or there. We're good with if the one DevOps platform makes for us, 3% awkward sentence, we're okay with that. That's how much we want to own the one DevOps platform. So one is the most efficient number. Examples of these lockups working. The charcoal purple. I'll never get tired of saying that. If it were, I guess, in the streets. On social.
Hey, sir, I noticed on one of those, it looked like there was almost like, you can go back maybe a couple slides there to the one where it was mocked up on the side of a building. Yeah, is that kind of that like almost, oh, is that maybe just the, oh, that's, I think it's just the, is that just the framing of this or is that?
I think so. I wondered that too. Like that reminded me of old school, like slide film.
Yeah.
I think that is, my read, Luke, correct me if I'm wrong. My read was that wasn't necessarily part of the brand. It was like part of the, whatever this.
The photo, yeah, got it.
Is.
Cool, no problem.
Yeah. What else do we got here? Just some examples of this stuff. And then Adam. So is there anything anyone wants to go back and cover? Was that a good run through? Never done it before. Looks good seeing it again with fresh eyes.
No, I'd say that was pretty solid. I will say kind of from the brand design side of things. So be kind of an interesting time because we're kind of, now that we're taking the guidelines and standards sort of in-house, if you will, we're kind of poking holes in some things and seeing what works and what doesn't. So I think we sort of already prefaced that, but just kind of, we could all keep that in mind as we're working through this, that it's pretty fluid. There's not a ton that's kind of set in stone. So we just kind of going with that mindset, we should be good. But just to note that, we'll find things that work and don't work as we go.
Yeah, one of our team's principles, it's not on the page and it's really just one of my life principles, is better is always better. So there's no ego. We're a very egoless team. We hold our opinions strong but lightly. So if we think this is great right now, but if you show us something that's better tomorrow, we reserve the right to say, yeah, you're right, that was terrible. This is what we love now, and not be judged for being wishy-washy.
Well, none of that was terrible, so I don't think we'll say that. But I'm excited to see where our team can take this. I think we've got some great things to work with, and I've already had some interesting conversations about how to take some of that text and move it in motion. I know Martin's excited about that. So yeah, I would just open this up to Clay and Stefan and Adam, since they're going to be moving forward with the art directions. I think we'll start putting together some mood boards. So if they have any questions, I'll leave it up to them.
Yeah, and there's we're open to any way you want to go forward with it. Like if you want to just carte blanche, like no insult, no hurt feelings, just be like, look, we're just going to go into the lab and treat this in a very unprecious way and apply a whole new lens on it and come out, feel free. Or if you want to work in close collaboration, like whatever is best for you.
Yeah, and look, I think you guys have done a great job on this brand, by the way. I think it's really put us in a really good direction here. So this is good. It's a really good foundation for us to build off of. I think for this week, our plan is to really sort of paint in broad strokes here and get everyone really like feeling good about the general vibe, figuring out how we can take this brand and evolve it in some really interesting ways for the web specifically. And then hopefully that'll get some good conversation going, which will lead us into next week when we can actually start putting pen to paper.
Right on. Digital is where this product lives.
Yes.
It doesn't live in the real world. We try and make it live in the real world because that brings more customers to the wherever we all are right now. So that is where it lives. So that is like its primary residence, whatever that's worth.
Totally, yeah, and that's top of mind for us too. So yeah, again, thinking about how we can take that really great work that's been done and think about that in a very digital way. Cool.
Can I ask a question?
Go for it, Cindy.
What's the difference in the Gantt chart? There's the design step and in the sprint, and then followed by the content step in the sprint with design in motion. What's the difference in terms of, as a DRI for content of the solution page, for instance, what's the difference in the work that you're doing on the first sprint versus the second sprint of that? So I'm not sure I'm making sense, but
no, you're making sense.
That totally makes sense. So from our perspective, Cindy, when we are looking, so we're going to do the design exploration, which will just be like initial mocks, initial prototypes, like Adam said, kind of the vibe of the page. From there, we'll go into actual like UI design of the pages. So what does the layout look like in terms of how things are organized? What does the font look like on the page? Where are we leaving placeholders for photos, videos, that type of thing? So it's going to be very much more like UI design, colors, fonts, placement, organization. Once that kind of first level of design is locked, we'll then go and create content for those placeholders. So if any graphics, illustrations, photo sourcing, video sourcing needs to happen, that'll happen in that secondary phase.
got it. Okay. And so from beginning to end for a particular page is a month or 6 weeks? What, like from the time you have the brief in hand to the time that it's live? Is that 2 sprints, 3 sprints? Just trying to.
So I can't speak to the live part because that's going to be handled by your engineering team, but I'll start with our task. So we will do, say for the home page, it'll look like kickoff of sprint 1, which is 2 weeks. We'll do the UI, the design. Then we're holding 2 weeks for content for that page, and then we'll hand off to the engineering team to implement.
Got it.
And Cindy and Christina, we do have the option to contract in from Jam3 content strategist and like a UX designer that works with the content strategist. So I know both of you have a zillion other things going on as well. So if that is something that unlocks both of you, that is something I'm like 100% into just going with my little bag to Craig for a little bit more money. Because I could see that being really useful. But again, that's your world. And I just want to make sure you're in choice on how you think it works best.
Okay.
Yeah, and Michael and Cindy, just I'll ping you more offline, but my main note to self is to kind of look at the scope of all the Word content that needs to be created and see what makes sense to me. And yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
I said one more question / point. I know we talked about going live, and I don't think we've officially formally announced it, but I believe we're kind of doing a grand reveal. So I don't think we're going to release things on the fly. It's going to be, they're going to be done. They're going to be on a review app, which is pretty much our version of production, but that's not production or live. And then we'll flip the switch at some, I don't know what the date is yet, but at that date. So just to just to let everyone know, I guess, what's going on with that.
Which is very, just for Jam3 side, very foreign to GitLab. We, again, iterate is one of our core values, and we don't hold things precious at all. So this is, if there's ever any kind of weirdness, it's because this isn't typically how we roll. But like Craig said, you need to work in this fashion to make a step change. And we kind of are just like saying a lot of no's with kindness, because this is our main focus and will be, like, let's be real, like to the end of the summer, but we will do this sort of like big bang. But I don't know, I just thought it'd be useful for y'all to know we're working in a way that is counter to our usual day-to-day.
Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for the trust and the respect to move this forward. And we pride ourselves in collaboration and flexibility as well. So I think as we continue to work together and work lock and step, I think we're gonna figure out like a really, I mean, when I was briefing Cassie on this project, it's like my goal here, just from producer standpoint, is create a well-oiled machine that is a monster that can iterate and produce great quality work at the same time. So I have a lot of confidence that that team is going to get there. So I think these initial sprints are going to be where all of that magic starts to happen. And by the end, it's going to be rolling like a train.
I agree. Everybody, please feel free. Like, it is, these things start messy. And that's the fun part. Don't at all feel like you're being inefficient or not doing the thing you should be doing. You know, the phrase I've been sharing with people individually is, you know, plan the work the plan, but don't forget Mike Tyson's immortal phrase, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So when we kick off the project, that's when that first punch in the face comes. But we've got an amazing team here, and we're gonna surprise GitLab. Like, GitLab has no idea how good of the thing that we're gonna make is, and I'm just thrilled.
I think we're all feeling that. We're all very, very excited to get going and dive in this week. And I know, just myself, I'm not a designer, obviously, but to see these things come to life, I can't wait. I am extremely excited. And I know the team is as well. I also know that we have 2 minutes left before we're supposed to end. Did anyone have any final questions, or Michael or Luke, is there anything that you wanted to mention, anything further in terms of the design principles and values? Adam last week had shared, you know, company values and some words in which you're using to like speak about the new brand. But was there anything else you want to touch on there quick?
No, one of our kind of ways that we work is we typically don't even present in meetings. So I wanted to give the opportunity to go through the deck that we looked here, but we're all really comfortable that if someone is putting forward something to review, that's an individual's responsibility to look at that async, you know, when they're in the best frame of mind to take that in. So I don't need to go through all of that. The links are there. If you're interested, take a look. I'm just stoked. I'm ready to run through a wall. So I have nothing more to add.
I love that. If there are no other questions, and you know we're all running on this fuel, I will let y'all go and we'll start diving in. And I guess, Michael, I'll connect with you on Slack or email, whichever.
Yeah, I'll figure out where we're at with that.
Sure, we'll connect in terms of getting those set in our calendars.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.